Welcome to the Zoom tutorial for new users. At First Presbyterian Church, we are beginning to use Zoom as a platform to hold meetings and gatherings since we are not able to do so in person right now. So to introduce you to the software, if you are new to it, I just wanted to put together a short tutorial to try and help you get up to speed and able to communicate in your meetings as effectively as possible. So I'm going to talk mostly about this bottom bar that I'm running my cursor across with all of these buttons. So we're going to start on the left with the mute button. And so when we click that button, it mutes us and unmutes us. And so this button is one of the most important features in the Zoom because the more microphones that we have open, the more distortion there is of the voice of the person who's speaking. So when you're not speaking, it is best to keep your microphone on mute so that we can minimize background noise and distortion and understand the person who is speaking. Next to that microphone button is an up arrow, and the up arrow allows you to decide what input you're using on your microphone. So if you have a headset like AirPods or another Bluetooth headset or even a plug-in headset, you can select that headset in this drop-down list. If it is on and connected to your computer, it will show up in that list. So if you choose to be on a headset instead of using your computer's audio and microphone, that's the way that you would set that up. Next to that up arrow is the video camera. And so this button will allow you to turn on and off your video. I would recommend that if you're going to be stepping away from your computer for some reason, that you turn that off and then return to your computer screen and turn it back on. So we like to have everybody's video up if possible so that everybody can see each other in the meeting. It gives a little more personal and we can get some of those nonverbal communications. Body language is, important in communication. So we like to be able to see facial expressions and really connect with the person who's speaking. Next to the video button is another up arrow, and that's for if you have an external camera that you are going to use instead of your computer's camera. You'll be able to select that from the menu if you have an external camera. Moving across the bottom, the next button I want to talk about is the Participants button. And the Participants button is a great tool to use because when you click that button, it will show you a screen on the right of your window that has every participant in the meeting. In this meeting, you just see me because I'm the only one in it. But what you'll notice is with the participants, the host will be on top, so the person who is managing the meeting, so to speak, in terms of the Zoom platform, will be at the top, not necessarily the moderator of your meeting, but if possible, it would be the moderator of your meeting. And you'll see that if you highlight over your name, you can either mute yourself in this box, and then there's also this More button, and it won't show it on mine right now because I'm the only person in the meeting, but if you click that More button, there will be a list of 3 or 4 things that you can do, and one of those things is to raise your hand. And that's a really important feature of Zoom because if we're in meetings with, say, 20 or 30 people, we can't see everybody on the screen. Our screens just don't have the capacity to show that many participants. We'd all be about, the size of smaller than a postage stamp if it showed everybody. So the raising your hand feature allows the moderator of the meeting, the host of the meeting or co-host, to know who has raised their hand, and the list populates in the order that hands are raised. So as you raise your hand, your name in this alphabetical drop-down list of participants moves all the way to the top, and there will be a blue hand next to that name that your host will be able to see and call on you accordingly. So that is the best way for us to notify the moderator that we want to say something, because then they can actually stop the meeting or at the next point, at the next juncture, be able to call on you instead of trying to find that window to speak. So there's also a chat function, and the chat function allows you to talk to everyone in the group. It also allows you to select individuals to talk to. So if there were someone else in this meeting, I could select another person's name and send a message privately to that person. So this is a way that you can also, if you have a question or something that you want to talk about that maybe isn't being said at the moment, maybe we've changed topics and you need to come back to it, you can type it in that chat, and then we know that we need to come back to that issue also. And for me, I keep both of these toggled on the right-hand side of my screen. That's just easier for me so that I can see everything that's going on at one time. You can do what works best for you, but it enables me to see who's chatting and what we're saying, and it also enables me to see what participants are involved in the meeting. So the next button I want to talk about is the share screen button, and this is more something that your moderator may do to you, though you can share documents on the screen, and it's going to change the look of your screen. That's why I want to show it to you, because if something changes and you're not sure why, it's probably because somebody is sharing their screen. So I'm going to simply share, let's say we want to use a whiteboard in our meeting. I'm going to share my screen, and what that does is it has now brought up this whiteboard, and you can see that it's changed the look of my screen. So my video is small in this corner. Any other participants would also be over on the side here or across the top, depending on what your browser does. The whiteboard feature is actually kind of neat because we can type into that. Or we can write and circle things. We can draw. So I can use a squiggle line. I could circle that if I wanted to. So we could do a couple different things in the whiteboard function, but we may not use that as much. It's more likely that your moderator will share the docket for the day. So that's more likely to be why we'd share a screen. But I wanted to show you this share screen feature so that you can see what's going to happen to your computer screen. What will happen in this area where the participants are, including yourself, there are going to be some buttons here at the top. And what you can do there is you can change how many people you see there. It's going to be less than what you had been seeing because you're in a different formatted screen so that everybody can view this document, whatever the document happens to be. So if I were to, you can also click and drag out this picture, and you'll get more people in the screen the bigger that you make this. But you will not be able to see as many people as you had been seeing in the original view. So once you're done with that document, the moderator may stop sharing it, and then things go back to normal. They come back to this screen that you had left previously. So that's just something to be aware of when you're seeing something that changes the look on your screen. It may not be something you did or at all. It's probably something that the moderator of the meeting did because they want you to be able to see a document. I've had a lot of questions about how I see more people on the screen in general. So even in this view, how do I see as many people as possible in the meeting? And that will happen by coming up to this corner. So this is on my screen right now, the only option I have is to enter full screen mode, and that's because I'm the only person in this meeting. But next to this gray button right here, there would be two other buttons. Then one would say, if you mouse over it, it would say speaker view, which will give you a film strip of people at the top, and whoever is speaking becomes big down in this area down here. So the speaker view is helpful if you want the person who's speaking to be highlighted and big on your screen. The other view that you can have is kind of the Brady Bunch view. It's called the gallery view. And so that button would have, it would have 4 squares within this gray box, 4 white squares within the gray box, and that would be the gallery view. And that allows you to kind of, like a Brady Bunch screen, see as many participants as your screen can hold. Now, for some people that might be 10 people, some people it might be 12, some 15, some 20 or 30, depending on how large your computer screen is and whether you're using a desktop or a laptop. So that's a button that will allow you to see as many people as possible. Now, if there are more people in the meeting than fit on your screen, there will be arrows to the right and to the left of your screen, and you can toggle to the other participants through that means. But again, you'll be able to see who's in your meeting by using that participants tab on the side. So make sure that you activate that when you start your meeting. You have control over your participants, so you can take that away just by hitting the chat and participants button and then you're a full screen video. But I really recommend keeping those participants at least up and the chat as well. So that's pretty much all I have for Zoom for today. I think that gets you enough information to help you be able to start your meetings. Again, remember that in this participants area, we have this more button that allows you to raise your hand so that your moderator knows that you have something to say. And so I really encourage you to use that. And I think that we'll be in good shape moving forward. It's going to take some adjustments on everybody's part. We haven't done platforms like this as a church before, so we know it's going to be clunky. I invite you, if you have questions or need help, please contact me. I am more than happy to help you get up and running and rolling in this software. So I wish you the best in all of your meetings. Take care.